Part 2, we're continuing on the back of that same worksheet. We begin with the innermost layer of parentheses. 5 plus 6 is 11. So we have 8 times 11 squared. And we're adding 8 and 5 to it on the outsides. So 11 squared is 121. So this becomes 8 times 121 plus 5. 8 times 121 is 800, 160, and 8, 968. And if we add 23 to this, 993. 991, excuse me. Next one, 24 divided by 2 is the first step. That gives us 12 plus 5 squared. So we do 12 plus 25. And all of that gives us 37. So we have 7 squared plus 37 minus 2 squared. So this is 49 plus 37 minus 2 squared. So this is 86 minus 4, which is 82. Here we can do what's inside of the radical first. So we have 4 squared minus the square root of 25. So in other words, 4 squared minus 5. And 4 squared is 16. So when we subtract 5, we get 11. Next problem. 5 times 4 is 20 minus 9. 5 plus 1 minus 2 times 9. So we subtract these and we get 11 times 6 minus 2 times 9. So the multiplication happens first. So 66 minus 18, which is 48. Next problem. There are invisible parentheses on the top and the bottom of a fraction like this. So on the top, we take 3 times 5 first, and it becomes 12 minus 15, which gives us a negative 3. And on the bottom, 6 minus 2, which gives us 4. And we can leave our answer like that. This next one incorporates absolute value, which we treat just like parentheses. So 5 minus and 4 minus 12 is a negative 8. When we take the absolute value, we get a positive 8. So we subtract that from 5, and we end up with a negative 3. Next problem. The negative 2 is squared and becomes a positive 4. So we have 21 divided by a negative 7 minus the positive 4. First thing we do is the division. Dividing by a negative here gives us a negative 3. And when we subtract 4 from that, we get a negative 7 because it brings it further negative. Innermost layer of parentheses, since there are 2 here on this fraction. 8 minus 4 is 4. If we square that, we get 16. So we have negative 3 times 16 divided by 3 minus 12. Negative 3 times 16 is a negative 48. If we divide that by 3, we get a negative 16 minus 12, which brings us to a negative 28. Last 2. We'll start with the innermost layer of parentheses, which, well, there's only one layer, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 squared is 16 minus a negative, so it's kind of like plus 5 multiplied by 3, since that's the square root of 9, divided by 3. So multiplication and division happen at the same time, so we go left to right, which means that we do 5 times 3 first, and we get 15 divided by 3, which is just 5. So our final answer is 21. Here we see that 3 cubed divided by 3 squared is just 3. We multiply that by 2, we get 6, and we subtract whatever the absolute value of negative 3 is. Well, turns out it's a positive 3, so our final answer is 3.